Hi, this is Rick Kelo, and I am making this video to give you a quick summary of a technical journal article that has some pretty interesting and I think widely unknown impacts. So the study's on what's called efficient tax policy, which is the study in economics of what level of taxation an economy would best benefit from, what threshold of taxation would become harmful to economic growth. So what's interesting is that so the authors of the study, this is a 2010 paper, are Christina Romer from the University of California, Berkeley, and her husband, David Romer, who's also an economist. And Christina was on President Obama's Council of Economic Advisors. She was the chair. And she also designed the bailout plan that he implemented when he came into office, and then stayed on for a couple of years afterwards during its implementation. So very widely known Keynesian economist, certainly lifelong card-carrying Democrat, which I think makes her findings in the paper even more interesting because they are certainly contradictory to what many people would expect. So what Romer and Romer 2010 found was that if you increase tax at an amount equal to 1% of GDP, that for the next 3 years it will shrink the economy, it'll shrink GDP by 3%. So by 3 times as large as the tax increase. And it's probably especially timely to point out, given it's the campaign cycle in 2016 right now, and you'll hear lots of candidates discussing why they would raise taxes and for different reasons. So anyway, tax changes, either increases or decreases, tend to fall in some main areas. Either we want to counteract something that's happening in the economy, we want to pay for increases in government spending, or the reverse, we want to lower taxes in response to government surplus, or we want to change taxes to address an inherited budget deficit by a new presidential candidate, promote long-run growth. These are some of the main ones. But when Romer and Romer studies, they looked from post-World War II onward at all of the tax changes, so all the changes in fiscal policy. And their exact finding, I'm going to read you a quote from the paper, was that tax increases appear to have a very large, substantial, and highly significant negative impact on output, on economic output they're talking about, so on economic growth. And then the quote continues, okay, so since most of our exogenous tax changes are in fact reductions, the more intuitive way to express the result is that tax cuts have a very large and persistent positive output effects, meaning that reducing taxes will expand the economy, and then all other things held equal, of course we're making that assumption, increasing taxes will reduce the size of the economy, or if not reduce it, it'll grow slower than it otherwise was going to grow. So that is one very dominant study in efficient tax policy that's out there right now. It's Romer and Romer 2010, and I hope you've enjoyed the summary of it.